Hello and welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to teach you how exactly you can sell anything to anyone. Selling is by far the most important skill you will ever learn. If you're in a job interview, you need to know how to sell yourself, not only to be able to get the job, but to get it with the maximum salary possible. If you're a salesman, you will never be rejected again if you simply apply these tips. No matter who you are, no matter what's your background, imagine for a moment if you know how to sell. All what you need to do is to come up with a product or service and start selling it. And it's only a matter of time before you will be filled with cash. What made this guy so different than the rest of the entrepreneurs is probably because he knew how to sell $1,000 product that only takes $120 to build. Fortunately, there is science behind all of this. There is science why people buy from one person and ignore the other. And here in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 scientifically proven ways that you can use to sell anything to anyone right now. So why don't you hit the subscribe button and enjoy the rest of the video. The first thing I want to talk to you is the rule of authority. We are more likely to follow a request if it's coming from an expert. Since we're so lazy to think about everything, we have came to certain conclusions, such as if it's coming from a credible source, then it must be reliable regardless of how ridiculous it might sound. That's why we find some great salespeople sticking their certificates on the wall of their offices where they meet their clients, because it sends a message to the client that the guy you're dealing with knows exactly what he is doing. Let the other person know what makes you a credible person to sell this particular product or service. You can present that in many different ways. If you're selling a medical product, for example, don't forget to mention that you are a doctor with 15 years of experience in this field. Indirect signals could also have a significant impact, like the title before your name or the clothes that you're wearing. I did the same thing in the beginning of this video when I told you that I'm going to share with you scientifically proven ways. Probably grabbed your attention because most of us believe in whatever science says. In fact, science says that people will more likely believe in what you say simply by stating science says. I guess that worked pretty well. So if you are not a credible person yourself, talk at least about the credibility of the product, for example. The second way to sell is to make the other person to like you. I'm sure that you have came across someone who tried to sell you something in the streets and you probably rejected him without a second thought. Now imagine if that person is your friend. It gets hard to reject him, right? We might even feel guilty for not buying from him. So why not use this trick with every person you are trying to sell something? Before jumping into business, make the other person like you. But what are the factors that cause one person to like another person? Well, there are many factors that's involved here, but in general, we like people who are similar to us, people who pay us compliments, and those who work with us for mutual goals. Instead of starting talking about all the benefits of your product first, why don't you have a small talk to find some similarities between you? Maybe both of you watch soccer. Perhaps both of you support the same team. The more reasons you will give him to like you, the higher the chances that you will make the sale. The third rule is give and take. We feel obligated to give if we have been given something. You're probably familiar with this rule. You know, when it's your birthday, you always invite the people who has invited you before to their birthdays. You always help the people who have helped you before because you feel obligated to return the favor. And that's one of the reasons why salespeople usually give you a free sample to try, in order to give you this feeling of obligation to buy the rest of the package. Of course, they're trying to expose you to their products, but at the same time, they understand the psychological effect it has on you. So this is one of the most effective ways that you can use to drag someone to buy your product or service. It should not necessarily be something physical. Sometimes a kind behavior can trigger the emotions of obligation. But what's more important here is to be the first to give, without appearing like you're expecting something in return. Make it seem natural, as if you're giving it out of love or friendship. The next step is the principle of social proof. If others are doing it, then we're more likely to do it ourselves. We look at the people around us to determine our actions. So if everyone around is getting the new iPhone, we are more likely to do that as well. That's why advertisers love to inform us that their product is the fastest growing or the largest selling, because they don't have to convince us directly that the product is good. They only need to let us know that everyone around is using it, so it must be good. We have this kind of mindset that if everyone is doing it, then it must be right. It's not possible that everyone is wrong. Come on, they are buying it for reasons. That's how we think. Yes, of course, not everyone is like that, but overwhelming majority, 95% of people look up to others to determine their actions. Because we don't like to be different, we want to be like everyone else. So when it comes to sales, you can talk about all the great benefits of your product, but it's going to be much more effective if you talk about how everyone else is using it. That will have a stronger effect. And the last tip is scarcity. People want to have more of what's less available. The only reason diamond is more expensive than gold is not because they are better in some way, but simply because they are scarce. We feel a sense of loss if we don't get what's less available. The idea of potential loss have a large role in human decision making. In fact, people seem to be more motivated by the thought of losing something than by the thought of gaining something of equal value. For example, it's easier to convince people to go to the gym by stating what they might lose if they don't go to the gym than by what they might gain. Because you don't want to lose that good health that you already have. You're probably familiar with the limited number tactic, when a customer is informed that a certain product is in short supply, that if you don't get it now, you will have to wait for another 6 months for the next stock to arrive. Or the deadline tactic, where the products are only sold during a particular period of time. The point is that making your customer feel that he will lose something if he doesn't acquire your product or service can significantly push him to make the purchase. These principles and strategies are actually taken from the book influenced by Robert Cialdini. Each of these principles can be backed by a well-done research and experiment. You can check them out in the book. I have left an affiliate link of the book in the description of this video if you are considering to get the book. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video and most importantly benefited. And if you did, then hit the subscribe button and give this video a big like, and I will see you guys in the next one.